We have guided Tupapa Maraerenga to the O-League semi-finals. But before we get there, a reminder that we are also in charge of the Cook Islands national team. Now, it has been a couple of episodes since our last update from the OFC Nations Cup, and that's because we haven't had any competitive action since then. Yep, one of the disadvantages of national team management in the OFC region is the lack of competition. After the conclusion of the 2024 OFC Nations Cup, the top 3 sides from the group stage went on to World Cup qualifying, New Zealand predictably going through, while we've had almost 2 years of friendlies. Still, we've had a decent run, having not lost since this September 2024 defeat to the Solomon Islands. We're currently unbeaten since October 2024, a run that continued all the way through 2025, including massive wins over Tonga and Asian opposition in the shape of Brunei and the Maldives as well. We have now risen to a record high of 168th in the world rankings, placing us between Eswatini and South Sudan. Tupapa Maraerenga's own Samuel Brogan has been the informed scorer with 11 goals to his name. He's not yet the country's record scorer though. That is a title held by Ben Matter, a defender with 16 goals. But it looks like we're going to remain in the friend zone for a while yet, as our next competitive action won't come until July 2027 at the Pacific Games. So in the meantime, let's get back to 2026 and that O-League semi-final. We hosted the first leg and did a good job of restricting Wellington Olympics' chances until the second half, when Di Mairo ghosted through our defence to open the scoring 1-0, which was how it stayed until the final 10 minutes when the New Zealanders had a man sent off. We saw our opportunity and grabbed it with both hands. Striker Gibbons upended as a low cross came in, and Lee Harmon firing in the spot kick for the stoppage time equaliser. A great result, but the away goal meant a tough task awaited back in Wellington for the second leg. We started positively, charging down the Wellington Olympic defence with early pressure, leading to Edwards having a great chance which ultimately came back off the crossbar. We then frustrated our hosts as they were restricted to set pieces and long-range efforts. It was anybody's game as we entered the second half, and they hit the crossbar themselves, but we kept creating chances. Matariki going close midway through the half. We definitely rode our luck at times, but ultimately got an impressive away draw. Just a shame that would mean elimination on away goals. Auckland City once again proved to be the team to beat, but we are getting closer. Those New Zealand teams not quite so invincible, and their place in the final not so much a dream anymore. Again, we had benefited financially from our O-League run, now with a whopping £76,000 in the bank, and we could be in for a windfall as takeover rumours began to swirl. Despite the chairman dismissing the speculation, the rumours would keep returning ahead of the new season. Ultimately, nothing would come of it, but we did get another stellar youth intake with no fewer than 8 elite talents, including a goalkeeper who's pretty much first team ready, another hotshot striker, plus more options in defence. Always welcome at this level. We started the season in dominant fashion, 3 wins in our first 3 games, with Sam Brogan in particularly excellent form. But then a shock result, as for the first time since the first season of this save, we failed to score in a league game. We soon bounced back though with 3 wins in our next 3 games, meaning with 3 more games left to play we were within touching distance of another title. A win over that team that dared to draw with us earlier in the season meant a win over second place Titikaveka would secure the title. We wobbled though as Edwards was sent off in the first half for a reckless challenge, and in the second half we did not respond positively at all, conceding twice in a shock domestic defeat. That result meant Titikaveka closed the gap and still had a game in hand, which they would play while we took to the field in the Cook Islands Cup final. Meaning, if we win this final and Titikaveka fail to win their game in hand, we could earn 2 trophies on the same day. We played that cup final just a week after that shock league defeat. In a cagey first half, we opened the scoring by brute force, Sam Brogan eventually poking the ball in, and just before half-time it was the old guard as Tuteru dribbled through the middle to set up Graham Viking. Early in the second half, another scrappy goal as Jake McCoy got his head onto the ball for our third. Sam Brogan had a great chance to make it 4 after a defensive cock-up, but it hit the post. The fourth goal would come soon enough though as Viking teed up Matauriki, and that was all she wrote as we won the cup for the 3rd season in a row. But what happened in that league game our title rivals Titiaveka had to win? Well, they dropped the ball, falling to defeat against Matavera. But hang on, although that meant Titiaveka were out of the title race, Matavera went second, 3 points behind us with 1 game to go. So for the first time in this save, the Cook Islands Round Cup title goes down to the final day of the season, and guess who we're playing? Yep, we go head to head with new second place title challengers Matavera. It did not take us long to hit our stride, Tuava and Matauriki exchanging passes for the opener inside 4 minutes. But Matavera have not simply fluked their way into title contention and showed as much as they equalised midway through the first half. A massive scare a few minutes later as Matavera broke through our defence again, but luckily the goal was called back for offside. That jolted us back into life though, and we retook the lead before half-time thanks to Shane Tuteru. In the second half we needed to assert control over the game, and did so inside 3 minutes as Lee Harmon got the goal. On the hour mark Harmon would add another as Sam Brogan picked him out. It had now become a matter of how many, and Lee Harmon would be the first to respond as he completed his hat-trick. Matteo Ricci made sure there were more goals to come as he headed in Edwards' cross. And that finally put an end to Matavera's brief title challenge, as well as their misery. We had to work for it, but we raised the Round Cup once again, and complete a 4th double, bringing with it a return to the O-League, taking on some new opponents this time as we face Pansa American Samoan champs and hosts, Hunkelikau Steeler, champions of Tonga, and Vaiva Setai of Samoa. We started against Pansa, Jake McCoy opening the scoring on 3 minutes. A beautiful knockdown by Sam Brogan set up Lee Harmon for number 2, and that was enough for the win. Hunkelikau were up next, and we again got the early goal from Shane Tuteru this time. He then added a second, which was kind of a mirrored version of his first goal. And again, 2 goals was enough for the win. Indeed, it was enough to progress to the next round. The final match was something of a dead rubber, but was noteworthy for the match winner, a first ever senior goal from young striker John Koiatu. Having topped the group with a 100% record, we would again find ourselves in Group C, and again with no New Zealand opponents. Lautoka of Fiji would host the group, and this time Gulf Kamara, cool badge, would represent Papua New Guinea. Our opening game though was against ABM Galaxy of Vanuatu, who we beat last year to reach the knockouts. After Tatuava had opened the scoring, the Galaxy equalised, and it looked like this one would be a draw. But then a twist with 10 minutes to go as Graham Viking was tripped in the area, and Sam Brogan did the business from the spot, earning us a 2-1 win. Again, it would be a penalty that got us the advantage on match day 2 against Lautoka, but whether that was actually a foul or in the area, very much up for debate. Probably a good thing we don't have VAR in the O-League. Sam Brogan did the business again. In the second half, we found ourselves temporarily down to 10 men as Edwards received treatment, and we, of course, conceded an equaliser before the physio had even applied his magic spray. Still, a point against our toughest opponents in the group, we'll take it, especially as that means just 1 more point in the final game will take us through. But we have reached a point by this stage of the save where settling for a point isn't enough, and we showed this with strikes from Sam Brogan and Graham Viking, 2-0 on the night against the Papua New Guineans, and going through in top spot in the group. We keenly watched the draw, waiting to see what first place would get us, but we then watched in horror as there were 2 New Zealand sides left in the pot and only 2 ties left to arrange. But thankfully the Kiwis would be paired against each other, and we would play Hakari United of Papua New Guinea. The draw got even better as the semi-final was mapped out, and we potentially have a path to the final without having to face one of the New Zealander favourites. Can we capitalise on that? Well, we will find out next time, when we will also see the long-awaited return to international action for the Cook Islands at the Pacific Games.